Hey guys, I just watched Alabama's Ghost. Sort of. Don't know what the hell I watched. This movie actually starts out with a song about Alabama's Ghost, and once you hear it, it's hard to get that song out of your head. This movie's about a guy who, I guess he was a janitor, and he found these old clothes that belonged to a magician, and when he puts these clothes on, he has the powers of that magician. And the guy's name actually is Alabama. At first, he's having fun doing these magic trips, and he becomes extremely successful, at which point the ghost appears to him and tells him, hey, you better stop putting on my clothes and doing tricks with my stuff, because A, the ghost is racist, and B, he just wants him to stop. The rest of the movie is very what the fuck. Like, things just happen just to happen, and there's an elephant. I do like his first response when he does encounter the ghost. He jumps out the second story window and he runs down the block yelling, "Mama, daddy, mama, daddy, mama, daddy." Ran down the block yelling, "Mama, daddy, mama." I thought that was the funniest thing that I've seen in this entire movie. The fact that he jumped out the second story window, that's pretty realistic. Another funny thing about it was his mother is played by a woman who looks basically the exact same age as him. Like, I'm looking at this woman like, did you have him at 2 years old? And what they had the nerve to do is they just sprayed her hair with that Halloween spray that you spray to make your hair look like you have gray hair. They really did that and put her in this movie. There's a lot of unusual camera shots in this movie. Some shots were really close for no reason. Some shots were tilted. I could tell they were trying to be really creative, and they were trying to kind of make it feel a little bit psychedelic, but I felt bored by it. It was sad to say. Usually I like things that are really weird, but this I didn't find to be as entertaining. Maybe I should have started drinking and then watched it. This is one of those movies that's probably better the more alcohol you consume while watching it. Anyways, check out Alabama's Ghost for yourself. I watched it on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description. It's been up for a couple years, so I suppose it's alright for it to be up. If you've seen Alabama's Ghost, let me know what you thought of it. Do you like the weirdness of it? Did you not like the weirdness of it? Let me know in the comments. Hey guys, I just watched Abby, which is becoming one of my favorite black horror movies. This is about my second or third. No, this is my third time watching Abby. And it gets better every time I watch it. I love when she becomes possessed and starts talking all the crap that she talks. This movie actually starts off more deep than campy, with a professor who's also a preacher talking to his students about African orishas and deities, and specifically the god Eshu. And this professor is played by William Marshall, which we know from Blackula, and also, as my brother recently told me, from Star Trek. The students wish him well on his archaeological sabbatical in Nigeria. His son is also a pastor and has a wife, and they're moving into a new home. It's his wife, Abby, who eventually becomes possessed, and of course he has to call on help from his father with the whole situation. In this movie, the steps go kind of fast from infestation to possession. Some movies, they take a while to show little things going wrong in the home before the person fully becomes possessed, but in this, I think she becomes possessed within like the first 20 minutes of the movie. Despite it happening so early, there definitely is enough character developed for you to care about Abby. The effects are pretty decent. There is a vomit effect that goes as well as any other vomit effect. There's some effects of things moving around a room, doors slamming by themselves, those type of haunted house possession films effects that are done just as well in this movie as were done in Poltergeist or The Conjuring, in my opinion. There isn't a lot of gore in this movie, but what little they do, they sell pretty well. There's an effect of cutting an arm that looks pretty real, except for the coloring of the skin was just slightly off, but it was still well done. There's the effect of a quick glimpse of the demon's face, which is, the effect itself is good, but the design of the demon's face is just comme ci comme ça. Abby's possessed look was pretty good, I think because of the subtlety of it. I feel like it's scarier when you just change little minute things, like changing the size of the irises in the eye. That always looks a little bit freaky when they're just the wrong size. Also, the coloring of the eyes, when it's a non-natural looking color to the eyes, that is creepier than doing a full-on, let me make you look like a demon thing. Another great touch was her teeth. There was a small change in how her teeth looked. Her demonic voice, though, it kept on reminding me of Freddy Krueger, and although I know this movie came out more than a decade before Nightmare on Elm Street, having seen Nightmare on Elm Street first before seeing Abby, I kept on hearing Freddy Krueger's voice, and that kind of made it less scary. Abby's possession, though, is off the chain. There's a scene where her husband comes in the room and he's all excited. He thinks he's gonna get some tonight, and she promptly kicks him in the dick. And I was just like, every time it happens, I laugh. And I know it's not funny, but it is funny, but it's not funny, but it is funny. Also, the Bible study that she hosted was funny as hell. And when I mean funny, I mean the things that she says. If you've seen Exorcist, you know how the Exorcist and the Demon says a lot of off-the-wall stuff. And Abby does the same thing. Like demons like to talk shit. Just so you know, demons will say some crazy shit because they're demons. The soundtrack was minimal, but I enjoyed it. There was some, you know, funky 70s music, especially in the bar scenes when Abby went to the bars. I liked how in some scenes they didn't use any soundtrack music at all, no score at all, and I thought that was effective. And then the final showdown between the demon and the professor was really good. I especially liked how they used, I don't know whether I should call it religion or more belief system, but I like how they intertwine African belief system with some, I guess, Judeo-Christian belief system in there. I thought that was kind of cool. Abby is definitely a classic, and I'm surprised, you know how in the 70s they have, you know, these names, Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde, Blackenstein, Blackula. I'm surprised they didn't call it Black Exorcist, but instead they called it Abby, so I give it points just for that alone. But, like I always say, just because I love something doesn't mean you won't hate it. Just because I hate something doesn't mean you won't love it. Have you seen Abby? What did you think of it? Let me know in a comment.